right above, Rashi was following which opinion? Rashi right above the Sifri. Is he Rabbi Yishmael? Is he Rabbi Akiva? Who is he going according to? Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. Who's he going according to?
The one where you're only if your income will allow it. You have to really desire.
Okay, the first Rashi tells us Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, it shouldn't be this out of control, wanton consumption of meat. And the second Rashi, who's he following? Rabbi Yishmael or Rabbi Akiva? Rabbi Yishmael said, meat for Tava was prohibited until they came into the land of Israel. So Rashi said, right? In the wilderness, however, the flesh of a non-holy animal is forbidden to them as food, unless one brought it as a sacrifice.
It's not clear, because if you brought it as a sacrifice, you might not have checked. I mean, if the whole thing was you could have the meat, you could still be bringing it as a sacrifice even if it wasn't shechted appropriately. I mean,
no, sacrifice has to be shechted appropriately.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's not a kosher sacrifice.
Okay.
That's right. There are four services
that
need to be done for the sacrifice, and the very first one is shechita.
Okay, so it's kind of confusing though, because he's saying that it wasn't required in the desert to shecht. So.
Whoa, Rabbi Akiva said that you could eat meat in the desert without shechting. Rabbi Yishmael, right? So according to Rabbi Akiva, either you shechted and brought it as a korban, or you killed it however you wanted to kill it and eat it however you wanted to eat, and ate it. That's Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yishmael said no. One was not allowed to eat any meat in the midbar out of the context of a sacrifice.
Okay.
Only once we came into Israel were we then allowed to eat meat outside the context of a sacrifice.
When this says the flesh of a non-holy animal, non-holy means non-kosher?
No, it means non-consecrated as a sacrifice.
Okay.
Right? Non-consecrated as a sacrifice.
What about the circumstance? I know there was at least one instance in the Midbar where you had these, giant flock of birds. Hashem brought in this giant flock of birds because the people were complaining they had no meat. Obviously, they ate those.
Mm-hmm.
Were those all shechted?
Interesting. So, right? So, very good. So, according to Rabbi Yishmael, right, that it had to first go onto the altar, perhaps we'd have to say that that's only referring to the animals and not to the fowl, right? They were eating the slav. They ate the slav, and we don't even find, I think it says that they gathered them together.
They were punished for that, and it turned...
Yes, but it was brought to them as food. Yeah. Right? In other words, they weren't punished because, hey, you weren't supposed to eat it. Right? This was like, you want it, okay, you'll get it, but you'll see it's not going to be what you want. We have to, you make an excellent point, Rob. We have to differentiate, I think, between the animal. According to Rabbi Yishmael, right, you have to look into that. What Rabbi Yishmael say about the slav, about those quail or whatever those birds were. Let's just see one more, and then we'll have to continue next week. The Rambam, so Rashi is combining Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, meaning that we're supposed to be limited in your meat consumption. You're supposed to be limited in your meat consumption. And Rabbi Yishmael, that in the Midbar they only ate according to, they only ate in the context of a sacrifice. The Rambam and the Gemara, the Gemara that Rashi ended up quoting, Ton Rabbanon, the derech eretz, the proper behavior is shlo yochel adam basar el l'te'avon. Right, one should not be wanton in their eating of meat. But if a person has a strong desire for it, then he can have it. Right? So it seems to be, according to him, according to the way the Gemara rules with it, that it's an allowance that is made. It's an allowance.
Concession to.
A concession almost. Right? If you really want it, right, you can have it. Let's hear this Rambam. Kashal Yisrael, Rambam Maris Laws of Shchita 4:17. Kashal Yisrael b'midbar, when Israel were in the desert, lo nistavu Shchita d'chulin. They were not commanded to shecht non-consecrated animals. Elahayu nocharin. They would just kill it. O shochtin, or properly slaughter it. V'ochlin, and eat kashar ha'uma, like the other nations. Who's this going like? This was Rabbi Akiva, right? Rabbi Akiva had said that what changed once we got to Israel was not that now we're allowed to eat meat. What changed is now we have all the laws of shchita. But in the Midbar, there were no laws of shchita.
But in the midbar, they still had to get rid of the blood part, right? Maybe they didn't have to do the.
I don't think so. All these laws were
Wasn't the
laws.
command, but you
All
shall not eat the blood. You shall spill it.
all these laws, right? So you're not going to drink the blood, but you know the whole process we go through of removing the salting,
Okay.
right? It would seem not. When it's tavu b'midbar, we were commanded in the midbar. Shekola rotza lishchot. If you want to slaughter it, lo yishchot elo shlamim. Then it should be brought as a karban shlamim, the peace offering. That's someone on the altar, someone to the kohanim, and someone to the owners. Shneimar ish mitzvah sheyishchat shor. Right, that you have to bring it as a shlamim. But you want to eat, right, to kill the animal and eat in the midbar, then hayanocher, that was allowed. What changed according to, this is Rabbi Akiva. Once we entered the land of Israel, then the other restrictions were added in. But very interestingly, the Rambam, in his Hilchot Deot, personal development, fascinating Rambam. And then we'll pick up next week. Talmid Chacham Mekalkel Devarav B'Mishpat. A Talmid Chacham, a Torah sage, manages all of his affairs in a very judicious manner. Ochel, Vishote, he eats and drinks. Vizan, and supports Anshe Beito, the people of his household. Kafim Amono, in accordance with his financial standing, v'hatzlachato, and his success, right? Don't keep up with the Joneses. Don't see what everyone else is doing. Manage your family according to your means. And don't overextend oneself. The Chachamim have directed us, has commanded us, b'derech eretz, proper ways. Shliach adam basar, ella te'ava, right? Don't eat meat unless you have this strong desire for it. That's Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah that we saw before. Shenera kitav v'nafshecha le'achol basar, right? If you have a strong desire to eat meat. Dayol lebari le'achol basar me'erev Shabbat le'erev Shabbat. A healthy person, it's enough if he'll have meat when?
Each Shabbat.
Every Shabbat. Weekly. Right? On Shabbat, have your meat. Right? But if he's so wealthy that he can afford to have meat on a daily basis.
That bothers me.
Hmm?
That sentence as a dictum bothers me. First of all, Shabbat should be special across the board for everybody. Elevated above all.
Okay.
Why?
Okay, so
Why not the welfare
I agree with
also?
you, Ida. So you'll have to make Shabbos, right? You have a better cut of meat, right? Okay, I hear that.
Or you
Va'amru, and they said, La'olam, this is a great line, Yochel Adam pachot min haroi lo, lefi mamano. A person should eat less min haroi lo lefi mamano, less than befits his income. V'yilavesh, right? So you don't have to be such a fancy eater. Yilavesh, a person should dress karoilo, in accordance with where they're at. V'yichabed ishto banav, and honor, provide, right? Actually, chabed is honor. Honor wife and children, yoter min haroilo, right? Beyond that which he can do. Both the Rambam, though, seems to be involving both. He's going like Rabbi Akiva, that shechita is what changed once we got to Israel, but it seems, both from the Rashi and from the Rambam, that everyone agrees with Rav Elazar ben Azariah, who said that the meat eating is a concession. It's an allowance that we have according to a person's ta'ava. Okay, and we'll see next week that there are many who say that it's a ta'ava, it's an allowance, but it's something that that not necessarily is the best thing to do.
In the 21st century, so much of that has changed.
What do you mean?
First of all, I have looked into, because I was a vegetarian for 7 years, and I became very ill, and my body developed a lot of strange things because I wasn't having proper nourishment. And one of the things I learned, that since I'm an O blood type, I should have some meat. Yeah, I'm a carnivore. And I've set a lot of things in my body. So doctors now are looking at the body differently. They didn't do blood tests then, and they didn't have it. And on the other hand, there are vegetarians who believe that that having so many animals roaming the earth is bad for the environment. They weren't concerned about the environment at that time. That's another factor. And also, a lot of people want to be culturally in. So I have grandchildren who have become vegans,
Yeah.
and they're going to get sick. To be honest with you, because my physical therapist said she is getting a lot of younger and older people, particularly hitting 55. They've been a vegan for a number of years. All of a sudden, their muscles just go. It's really not healthy. More and more, she said, physical therapists are seeing the results of poor nutrition.
Interesting.
But people could also take B-complex and other things. Right. You could have.
But I mean, a person could also get the nutrition from other sources. There, the proteins, besides animal.
No, plant has protein, right. But sometimes they don't look into it properly. You just want to be in.
Okay.
See, I said for 7 years, I also was that way.
Look, there are a lot.
I know.
There are a lot of fads. That's for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of fads going around.
It's a fad.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. But we are seeing from these sources that there is basis for a person feeling that I want to get back to where Adam was. Right? There's a certain domination that was given to Noah that a person might say. Right? Like I said, next week we'll see some more sources of what people did with all this, different opinions.
Actually, from what you say,
Don't.
vegetarian, you could be, the Torah is saying probably vegetarian, not necessarily vegan, right?